NERSA approves lower than expected tariff of 16%, and e-toll defaulters risk losing their driver's licenses. I'm Lebo Changela with this news update. The National Electricity Regulator of South Africa has approved a lower than expected tariff of 16%, citing concerns over the current weak economic environment as the reason. The figure is much lower than the 25% that Eskom has initially asked for about 2 years ago. NERSA says it has identified several cost-saving areas within Eskom which have allowed for a lower tariff increase. However, the regulator cannot give the assurance that similar lower tariff increases will be implemented in the coming years. Those who will not pay for using the e-toll road in Gauteng risk losing their driver's licenses, among other penalties. That's according to a Treasury official, Marissa Moore, who appeared before Parliament's Select Committee on Appropriations earlier today. The Treasury has announced that it will pay nearly 5.75 billion rand for SANRAL's e-toll of 19 billion rand. Members of Parliament raised questions about how the use of the e-toll road would be enforced for tourists or those who did not reside in Gauteng. Moore says the details will come out in legislation later.
It is important, however, for SANRAL to receive those enforcement powers so that the non-payment of a toll can be classified under that legislation. And as far as we know, the Minister of Transport has got the regulations to make that happen immediately, and there are legislation that has been drafted to provide for the powers on a sort of more sustainable and legal manner.
Cricket South Africa's Chief Executive Gerald Majola could be suspended for up to 6 months following Judge Chris Nicholson's recommendation in Pretoria earlier today. Nicholson headed the Committee of Investigation into the affairs of CSA. He says that there is a prima facie case that Majola contravened sections of the Companies Act and that a disciplinary inquiry be instituted.
There are provisions in Mr. Majola's contract for suspension for 180 days pending the conclusion of the disciplinary inquiry with pay. We believe the board should consider such for 2 reasons. Firstly, it would allow a pro forma evidence leader prosecutor free access to all the witnesses and documentation at Cricket South Africa. And secondly, it would be in Mr. Majola's own interest.
And recovery operations have not yet started for about 20 illegal miners believed to be trapped underground at the abandoned Gravlot mine on Gauteng's East Rand. The illegal miners are believed to be dead. They were trapped underground following a rockfall at least 4 days ago.